My name's Ann Dougan, and I'm currently on the board of the Scottish Commission for People with Learning Disabilities. But actually started my board, if you like, career about 15 years ago. So that was with the charity Quarriers that's based down in Inverclyde, and they sort of focus on health and social care services. What was interesting actually when I started with them was that I was the only woman on a board of maybe about 10 people. I didn't know that was like odd. I suppose that was maybe my expectation at that stage. But what I'm glad to say is that after I'd been there for, I think it was 2 terms, which worked out to be 8 years, we had a female chair and the rest of the board was pretty much split 50-50. The type of people that come forward for trustee roles today is still maybe not as representative of the Scotland that we're living in. And I don't know if I have the answer to how you make trustee roles more attractive to people from different parts of society, but I do think it's more and more important that we do find a way to do that because those voices are extremely valuable and should be heard within organisations at that level. I suppose it really started with the charity I was with before in Quarriers, because the reason I was interested in them was their work in learning disability. And I've got the privilege of being carer to my brother, who is, I won't say his age, he's younger than me, and he has a learning disability. And so through all of his life, I've seen the challenges that he faces and experienced the challenges that I face as a carer. So I was quite interested to see what it was like, if you like, on the other side of the fence, working with an organisation that actually looks after the interests of people with learning disabilities. So it was, first of all, that sector that attracted me into Quarriers. But then once I'd been with Quarriers, I then found out about Scottish Commission for People with Learning Disabilities and what their role was in, sort of promoting, if you like, the rights of people with learning disabilities, and also working with other third sector organisations and with Scottish Government. So that kind of continued, if you like, my interest, but also I was actually quite keen to understand more about how the government side of it worked and how policies are made or not made, and how the government works with different organisations in both the third sector and in other parts of the public sector. So that was a big attraction. The other thing really is that I've always enjoyed the strategic perspective of things and sort of looking at probably a big picture, and I'm quite future focused. So I thought by going into a board as a trustee, I'd get a chance to do that and in a different context from my day job, because when I started with all of this, my day job was in the private sector. I suppose there's a couple of reasons why I would encourage people to come forward and become trustees. First and foremost, there's thousands of charities in Scotland. I just can't believe how many, in fact, that there are. And I think, depending on size, but probably for all of them, they can't always have the luxury of having all the skills and the experience that they might need in order to really make the biggest impact that they could. So that's really where I think trustees can come in and not do a staff job, but complement, the skills and the experience that the staff group have got as well. And I think as well for the trustees themselves, there's just something quite special about applying your own perspectives and your own experience, whether it's in your work life or your own life, because you have a slightly different voice at the table than you might have in other places, and people really listen to you and they value what you've got to say, and that is a great experience. And you get to meet so many different types of people as well, which is it's just interesting. I think probably in terms of surprises, the main thing is that it's always evolving, and I maybe didn't expect that. So I didn't come from the third sector, so I didn't actually have much experience about organisations in that sector, or kind of what challenges they were facing. And what I've found is that it's quite a precarious sector to be part of, and the challenges come at organisations really quite unexpectedly. But what was a really nice surprise is just how nimble charities are. I'm always really impressed when we're up against things, how quickly and really effectively the charity is able to respond. One of the big surprises was that people who I've worked with as trustees, they're all there for different reasons. And I suppose I wasn't expecting that. I suppose I just kind of thought they were all there because either they were passionate about the cause, or because, like me, they were trying to add some additional experience for their career development. But actually, there was just so many more reasons that people were taking up those positions, and that sort of encourages me, because there's room for all sorts of people in charity boards, and I hope that that would encourage other people to think about it and maybe apply for some roles. So I think the main thing I would do differently is use my time a bit more wisely. Probably when I started, I thought that I would do a good job if I knew everything about everything. And so maybe I spent a wee bit too much time digging into all the details and reading the papers with meticulous detail. And actually, in reality, I should have been spending more time listening, and listening to the experts that were within the organisation itself, and also other trustees who had expertise that I didn't have. So I think I've learned that I don't have to be an expert in everything. Actually, I just need to listen well, to the people who are experts. Well, first and foremost, definitely personal development. I was a director on a very small management team, and I had therefore some experience of what it meant to be, I feel like, a leader, and how to run an organisation. But I really have expanded that massively by becoming a trustee. I've learned a lot about leadership. It's great to see different people with different leadership styles, and sometimes think about why does it work, when you think at first maybe their style won't work and it does work well. I've learned about that. I've learned a lot about influencing. When you come to the board table, you have to be patient and respectful, and you have to find ways of communicating with people that maybe isn't so easy. So I've had to adapt quite a lot of my communication style to suit different people, and think of ways of putting my ideas across to them. So that's been great. And, the other thing really is just the learning about the third sector, how the third sector works, and, really understanding more about what's going on in society and some of the challenges that people face leading, their lives.